Hi y'all, I'm Amira. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back, and if you are new, welcome. Today I wanted to do my, I guess you would call it, a roundup of my most used makeup in 2021. This isn't necessarily like my favorites. I'm opting not to do a favorites of makeup this year because honestly, I don't know if I have favorites this year, and that's a weird thing for me to say. Sorry, I've got a cat hair on my lip. That's a weird thing for me to say, but that's just kind of how I'm feeling this year. Like there's been a lot of makeup that I've really enjoyed and that that I would say rank as like favorites in general overall, but I don't think I have anything that's like that are like top the list for this year. They were like the thing. So I just decided to do a most used. And some of these are favorites, but a lot of these are things that are just maybe they are favorites because I keep reaching for them and I just haven't categorized them as that. But yeah, I would say this is more just like what I've used the most this year. So let's start off with, and I will say this, there are no eyeshadow palettes in this list, in this ranking, only because I rotate eyeshadow palettes all the time. So I don't have a most used eyeshadow palette. Like I said, I get bored easily when it comes to eyeshadow palettes. So I tend to use all of them interchangeably as time, as the days go on. It just depends on my mood, what I reach for that day. I have a very extensive eyeshadow palette collection, so I kind of decide on that day what I'm in the mood for. And sometimes it's the same palette, but a lot of times it's something completely different from what I wore the previous day. What can I say? That's just how I roll. So, but I saw Kat from Beauty News mention this foundation on her channel, and the way she talked about it, I was like, I kind of want to try that. And I just kind of looked online and it was on sale, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. It's on sale. It was like more than half off. This is the KVD Vegan Beauty True Portrait Liquid to Powder Foundation in the shade Tan 060. And guys, I love this foundation. I don't know what the hell, why the hell, who the hell, but it's a really, really nice foundation. I know the whole like liquid to powder may scare some people off. I will say that I don't think necessarily this would be the best thing for someone with dry skin, but if you have normal to oily skin, or oily to normal skin, which I have oily skin that's more normal now because of things that I'm using in my skincare regimen, but my skin is not on the dry side. But the finish on this is so lovely. It doesn't feel heavy on the skin once you put it on. It doesn't dry down to like this really dry, powdery looking foundation at all. It just looks really smooth and really perfected and really sort of blurred. And I have been reaching a ton for this, and I actually stopped reaching for it because it got down pretty low, and I think they're discontinuing this, which is why it was on sale. And this always happens to me. I discover things just as they're being discontinued. But yeah, I actually stopped using this because I was afraid I was going to run out, which is fine. I mean, I have a million other, foundations, but that's how much I like this, that I was using it so much and I went, I'm going to run out. I should stop. So I haven't used this in a little bit because I've been kind of like holding on to it like, But yeah, this is my probably second most used foundation this year. The other foundation that I've used the most this year, and this is teeny tiny. She's a little baby. I got a mini and she's a little baby. How cute is this? But she's like, I think she's almost empty. This is the Tarte Hydroflex C Hydroflex Serum Foundation. Why? Anyway, it's a serum foundation. So called the Hydroflex. And this is in the shade 42 as Sand. I got this in, I think, the spring VIB sale. It's a beautiful serum foundation. And can I just say, I love serum foundations, and I have my personal favorites, but I'm very picky about them because not all serum foundations are made the same. This is really good if you are someone who wants a serum foundation, but you don't want anything too dewy or too glowy, or you want a little bit more coverage, because this is not, I would say this is more on the medium side as far as coverage goes for a serum foundation. And usually serum foundations tend to be a bit on the lighter or more sheer coverage side. This is more medium. It gives you a beautiful natural satin finish. Not too dewy, not super matte. Gives a good decent amount of coverage. I enjoy this. I don't know if I'm going to repurchase a full size of this. I have so many foundations that I really don't need to repurchase one if I run out, which is another reason why I'm not using up this one, because I wouldn't want to repurchase this, and I don't know if I can, and also I don't know if I should. So yeah, but I'm almost out of this. Like, I picked this up for this video and I was like, oh, because I haven't used it in a while. I'm like, this feels really light. So I think there's only maybe one or two more applications in this and then it's done. But this is basically what I was using the majority of the time this past summer, was this one. Now let's talk about some other complexion products like bronzers and stuff like that. So my most used bronzer is a limited edition product, and I think last time I was on the NARS website, they still had it, but I think it was only in Casino, I think, because I think they came out with 2 shades. It is the, there you go. It is the NARS Sun-Kissed Bronzing Cream in Laguna. Look at that dip. And this is another product that I actually stopped using because I was like, if I run out, I'm going to be sad. I love this bronzing cream. This is actually what got me into cream bronzers. Well, I take that back. I used the Fenty cream bronzer. I had 2 shades, or I had Macchiato and Honey Glaze, I believe is the shade name. I panned Macchiato. I finished it in the late spring, early summer of this year. I loved that shade. I really enjoyed that formula, and I probably would have said that was like, you know, my top like cream bronzer formula until I tried this. And that blows the Fenty out of the water. I'm sorry, it just does. This formula is, you only need a tippy tip of your brush. It is so pigmented. It is so pigmented. It goes on the skin so beautifully. I'm actually wearing it today. I went pretty light with it, but it's so, it just gives this beautiful, and I have blush on as well, of course. It gives this beautiful natural finish. And I know with cream products, a lot of people worry about it being too dewy or it lifting up their foundation. I have never had any issues with this. It just looks really soft and beautiful and natural on my skin, and it's never lifted up my foundation. Yeah, I wore this pretty much all summer long, and I only stopped reaching for it because I didn't want to run out, because it is technically still limited edition and they do not have this shade any longer. I'm hoping that NARS will just release this in like their permanent packaging, because it's a stellar product. Next up is my most used blush, and you guys probably know what this is. Like, I've talked about this ad nauseum. You know, it's Pat McGrath Desert Orchid. This is the one. The one for me. Oh, so pretty. And I have, again, this is another one that I stopped using recently. Look how pretty. It just has this beautiful natural sheen to it. Why did I stop using this? Because I needed to use other things. Like, I had purchased other blushes and I wasn't using them. And I went from having not many blushes to having all of a sudden a ton of blushes. And I was like, what the, like, why? Like, I need to use these things. So I had to put my beautiful Desert Orchid to the side for a while and get use out of other things. And I have discovered some new favorites in blushes. Is it as much of a fave as this one? I don't know yet. I don't know yet. It's new in my life. I swatched it in Sephora and I fell in love. And then I went home and I was thinking about it. And I was like, I didn't purchase it when I was in the store. I was like, no, I don't need anything. And then, you know how you sit there and you go, I should get that. And then I went on the Sephora website and they were all sold out. But serendipity, and if you guys want to know what I'm talking about, I'll show you right now. This isn't my most used. It's not a fave yet, but I feel like it can be. It's this baby. It's this baby. It is the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude Melting Color Balm in the shade 45 Brick Red. And I've heard Hannah Louise Poston talk about her her color that she wears in this, which I also want because that color is beautiful, but it's sold out. These sold out so quickly during the Sephora. I mean, they sold out everywhere. Armani doesn't have any of these in stock anymore. They're not limited edition, so they're probably going to get restocked eventually. But I'm wearing this today. I went really light because I'm just didn't want to have a lot of makeup on my face today. But you can go heavier with this. This is what it looks like. So this is what I've been using recently. Not most used yet. Possibly a fave. Kind of want to get it in some other shades, but I have to live with this one more and really see if it's worth investing in another shade of this. But that's just a little aside. I went off on a little tangent, but yes, if you're wondering what's on my cheeks today, it is this baby. Back on track. Focus, Amira, focus. So next up is this bad boy, which is my Too Faced Natural Face Palette. I've had this a while. Let's see if I can open it. I've had this a while. I bought it on a whim during an Ulta Beauty 21 Days of Beauty, like almost 2 years ago, if not 2 years ago. And I really enjoy Too Faced's like face products, like their bronzers and their blushes and even their powders and their foundations. I used to use the matte foundation, even though the shade range is atrocious and the undertones are atrocious. The formula and the foundation itself was freaking beautiful. But this little bad boy, look at that. Look at that. Look at that pan. This is how much I've been using this. This had no pan when I started using this year. I feel such like satisfaction when I open this up and I see that pan. But then I stopped using it because, again, like with the KVD Vegan Beauty Foundation, I was like, oh my God, I really love this bronzer. I need to stop using it because I was like, I'm going to pan this bronzer. And then I got scared because I was panning the bronzer because I was enjoying the bronzer so much. And I still really love this bronzer. And I don't think they sell it as an individual pan, or I would just buy an individual pan of it. But they don't sell it that way. So I've slowed down on my use of this. But having said that, I've been using these two. This is like a mixture of like a bronzer and a blush, but like with shimmer. Can you see that? Look how beautiful that is. It's just like a perfect shimmery blush. So stunning. That is Trop It Like It's Hot. The bronzer is Sunny Honey. And then this is the other blush, which is just like this muted basic pink, like mauve-y, not pink. It does have a pink in there. It's called Pink Wink. I use this sometimes when I'm going for a pink look, but I'm not a huge pink blush girl, so I don't get a lot of use out of this. These I really like, especially this one. This is Starlight. Beautiful highlighter. This is actually a solid palette, and I'm not a huge face palette person. I've come to that realization, and I own way more face palettes than I should own for someone who's not a face palette person. So I've been really trying to like get use out of the ones that I have and not purchase anymore. But I will say, I don't know if I'm going to continue to use this because, at least that bronzer, because I really love it, and I don't want to pan it now. I'm like, no, it's so pretty. All right, next up are mascaras and mascara or lash primers. Now, or lash primer. I've never been a lash primer person. I used to be like, what is the point of a lash primer? It's stupid. And then I got a little sample of the Dior Show Maximizer 3D Triple Volume Plumping Lash Primer. And I used it up. I was like, this is amazing. I love it. And I loved it so much that I went and bought the full size. And this is old. It's going to get tossed because I've had it a while. But I love this. I love it so much. It's expensive. I don't know if I'm going to repurchase it. It's very expensive, but it really does plump the lashes. I have very long lashes, but I have very sparse lashes, and I tend to pick at my lashes when I'm nervous. So a lot of times I'll pull my lashes out, not like, and they'll just, and then they're gone. So it's just, an anxiety thing. Let's not get into that. But this really helps fill them in, and it makes them look really plump and voluminous. And yeah, so I think I would repurchase this if I could get it on like sale maybe. But right now I can't justify paying $30 for a primer. Have I paid $30 for mascara? Absolutely. But a primer, I'm like, Right now I'm using the Lancome primer, which is also expensive, but I just have a little mini of that. And I think if I could get this in a mini, if like I got a sample, it was just a sample, but I think if they sold this in a mini size, like commercially, I would purchase the mini. Next up, this one makes me so sad. It's literally been sitting on my console because I can't bring myself to do it. But as you guys know, in my community tab, I said that I caught the Omarion Rona. And I looked up like, makeup and, sanitizing makeup. And, I have makeup sanitizers, so that's fine. You can sanitize lipsticks and eyeshadows and powder things. You can even spray down cream products if you have a makeup sanitizer, and, you sharpen your brushes and you're good to go. But the one thing that you can't really sanitize is mascara. And one of my favorite mascaras this year, and one of my most used mascaras this year, was my Gucci mascara, which I had been using when I got the Rona. And this isn't empty. It's not even old. It's like maybe, I've been using it maybe 2 months, a month and a half, maybe. But I have to throw it away because it's probably got Rona germs in it. Yeah. But I want to show it to you guys so that you know it's proof of life that it existed, and it existed in my heart, and I used it. And yeah. And this is another reason why I'm like, damn it. God damn it. This is why I don't buy full size. Because if this was a mini and I had to toss it, I would have been like, cool, I'll just get another mini. This is a full size that I paid full size money for that I have to now throw away. This is why I'm not about that full size life when it comes to like high-end mascaras. This is a lesson for you and for me. Say no to full-size luxury mascaras. I'm just saying. Next up is this. If this was like my fave, I started off with a mini of this and then bought the full size. If this was my fave and one of my most used for a lot of the year, the second half of this year was taken over by these. The Bite Upswing Full Volume Mascara. This mascara, and this is new, unopened. I will not be opening it because I'm using up other things since I have to throw this one away. I still had a couple of other mascaras I could use. I haven't opened this yet, so she's brand spanking new. And she's a mini. This mascara is bomb, and it gives me like full lashes, and I've been enjoying that. And only reason I stopped using this is I ran out of it, and I purchased this one and was going to use this one until, it ran out, and then I would, open this one up. But yes, if this took over one part of the year, this was the other most used mascara of 2021. These two together were like my tag team. Next up, let's do cream eyeshadows. I am a cream eyeshadow lover. I didn't know that I was one until this year. I purchased 3 of the Too Faced Melted Chocolate Matte Cream Eyeshadows at the beginning of this year. They were on sale for half off, and I bought 3 of them. And I bought shades Warm and Fudgy, Chocolate Bunny, and Chocolate Wine. Chocolate Wine is pretty. It's more of a burgundy shade, but I don't use this one as much. These are the 2 that I use, which are Warm and Fudgy, and Chocolate Bunny. I use these all the time. When I want just a little color in my eyes, you can slap these on. I go in with like a brush and I just blend, blend, blend. Blend, 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 blend. And they're beautiful. They really are. They're not streaky. They last all day. They dry down. Not too fast, but fast enough. Like you can work with them, but they're not going to be, especially if you have hooded eyes, you don't have to worry about like holding your eye open while they dry, doing one of those numbers, and you don't have to do any of that. They're just lovely, lovely, everyday, easy to use products. And for me, these, if I had everyday makeup, if I would classify anything of mine that is everyday makeup, I would probably classify these as my everyday type of makeup, eye makeup. And then this one, again, like, I don't use this as often, but this is great. These layer really well. I love to do looks where I do, I would use maybe Warm and Fudgy or Chocolate Bunny on my lid. Use maybe, yeah, I would do Chocolate Bunny on my lid, Warm and Fudgy in my crease, and then Chocolate Wine in my outer corner. And you can get a really beautiful blended, well blended gradient neutral eye. Very pretty. Well worth the money that I spent on them. And I've gotten a lot of use out of those this year. Next up, I've gotten a lot of use out of this year. Am I happy about that? The point of me using it is to get use out of it, to use it up. That was the point of me using it. Have I enjoyed using it? No. But here we are. MAC Paint Pot in Lay and Low. Got a little pan there if you can see it. Little pan. Got a little pan. I hate this stuff. So many people talk about this and rave about it and say this is their favorite like thing to use as an eyeshadow primer. I think the issue between me and Paint Pot is that I have texture on my eyelids from past eczema issues, and this doesn't set well in my eyes, and it doesn't play well with the texture that I have like on my outer corner. And so whenever I use this, I always have issues with my eyeshadow sticking to my outer corner. I'll have patchiness, and it has nothing to do with the eyeshadow or even to do with my application. It's just literally this. I recently bought the Natasha Denona eyeshadow base, and I've been using that, and I've been loving it, and I haven't had any issues. Because at first I was like, wait, is it me? Did I all of a sudden just become crap at doing my eye makeup? No, it's this. It's this in combination. Like, I can usually work with the texture that I have here if I use a decent base. With this, it just was working against me in all kinds of ways, and I was not happy about that. So I don't know if I'm going to keep this. I said I wanted to pan it. I did hit pan on it. I honestly, it's kind of drying out and pulling away from the edges of the pot. So I don't know if it's worth keeping. I'll have to decide when I do my makeup collection videos. I'm probably going to go through each category on camera with you guys, and we'll see if this makes the cut still, because it might just get decluttered. Next up are lip products, and this is going to be the most boring one of all. Well, will it be boring? Yeah, it's going to be boring. I mean, I don't have a lot of shades here that like are groundbreaking shades. I maybe have one that I think will make the cut as far as being really, really interesting, but most of them are going to be neutrals. It's just what I've been wearing and loving lately. So let me show you what I've got here. First up is the Gucci Beauty Rouge Satin Lipstick in Penny Beige, and I will swatch that out. It's gonna look like a neutral shade, and you guys have seen this on my lips multiple times in videos. It's just one of my go-to shades. It's just this really beautiful, let me see if I can get it's really beautiful, just neutral beigey tone. It's lovely. I wear this all the time when I just want like a really pretty cream satiny look. Not a lot, no fuss, no muss. This is what I go with. If I'm not using that, I'm using my other favorite neutral lipstick, which is a liquid lipstick. And this is Dose of Colors matte liquid lipstick in the shade Cork. And that is this shade here. If you can see that. I don't know if my camera wants to be nice. There we go. I am now, this is my second bottle of this. This is the old packaging. I've had this a while. It's almost done. I have a backup already. I don't usually buy backups, but on this one, I always have to have this on hand. This is like one of my favorite lipsticks of all time, but it's also one of my most used. I use this, you know, if I'm not using these other shades, that's usually this on my lips. I love it. It's beautiful. It's like the perfect neutrally tone with a little bit of depth to it. Stunning. Next up is another neutral. Also from Dose of Colors. Dose of Colors has one of my favorite lipstick formulas. They have my favorite liquid lipstick formula, but I also like their glosses are really nice as well. And this is what I have on my lips today. It is this shade here. And this is an old gloss. This is from when they did the Disney collection. This is one and only. And I really, really wish that they would release this as a permanent lip gloss shade because it is stunning. You can even see the little Mickey Mouses, but you can also see how faded they are because I take this, I throw this in my purse. Every time I go out, I throw this in my purse. But yeah, this is just, I mean, look at it. It's just like a really like, it's got some pigment, but not too much. It's really easy to wear. I can reapply this without even using a mirror. That's how like easy going it is. Yeah, it's just, and the formula is really nice. For me, I tend to like glosses that are just, that don't have shimmer in them. I like them to have a bit more pigment so they can wear them on their own. And that's kind of what this one is like. It has a little bit of pigment to it. If it's a sheer gloss, I like it to have a little bit of shimmer to it that I can like layer over other things. But yeah, I tend to like a nice like non-shimmery pigmented lip gloss. And which is what this is. So beautiful. Now, in a complete 180 to those very neutral shades, the other most used shade that, you know, in my collection this year has been Lisa Eldridge Velvet Dragon. And that is this shade here. It's this insanely bright, burnt orange, reddish. It's just, the shade of it is so unique. Like when I say burnt orange reddish, you're like, okay, it's a red orange. No, there's just a hint of like duskiness to it, a hint of like murkiness to it that just makes it so unique and really and interesting and fun to wear. And so yeah, if I'm not wearing these this year, if I wasn't wearing these, I was probably wearing this. And I've worn this in quite a few videos as well. She recently came out with another shade called Cinnabar that I've worn a couple times, and you guys have really I've had a couple people compliment me in the comments for that shade. And that shade is like Velvet Dragon's like slightly darker, dankier, duskier sister, and it's beautiful too. And that has been one that I've been wearing a lot since I purchased it, but I only got that like maybe a month ago, so I wouldn't say it's my most used at this point, but this one most definitely is. And then finally are two lip pencils. I'm wearing one of these today. My two most used lip pencils, and look how small they are. Look at teeny. This one's really teeny, and this one is on its way. Look at teeny. This is Pat McGrath's Permagel Ultra Lip Pencil in the shade Contour. And this I like to use because I have some pigment around the edges of my lip. I often use this to kind of blank out my lips without getting mannequin lips. You know, it kind of just, because it matches the inner shade of my lips and maybe not the lines of my lips, the outer lines of my lips. I use this to fill that in, and I just kind of blend it, and it just makes my lips all one shade. And then whatever I'm putting over it, the true pigment of that can show through. I tend to use this a lot if I'm using like a sheer gloss with some shimmer. Sometimes I'll just use this, and I will then put the gloss all over, and that makes a really pretty lip look. The other one that I use a ton is the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the shade BFF3. And that is what I'm wearing with my lip gloss here today. And again, this is, and I'll swatch these for you, so guys, so you can see, because this is very much like a slightly deeper, richer color. So this is BFF3. and that's contour. And as you can see, the shades are like deep enough that they add a little bit of dimension to these, but they also play really well with all of the neutral tones on my hand here. So I often use these interchangeably with like my gloss. This one I like to use with like, you know, cork. Penny Beige I love to use BFF3 with, just to give my lips some dimension. They just all really work well together, and they're like a really nice neutral lip product wardrobe that I can use interchangeably. So yeah, this is what I've been wearing the most this year. I've been wearing neutral lipsticks a ton because a lot of the eye makeup that I've done, eye looks that I've done recently have been very colorful. So it just makes it easier for me to opt for a neutral, more low-key lip. So yes, that is everything that I have reached for the most in 2021. Let me know in the comments below, what are some of your most used products? Do you own any of these products that I showed today? And if so, what do you think of them? Let us know in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.